Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Uh, Before I explains about my mind map first, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Al Fatih, NBM 40. I'm from class 2. And in this section, I chose reading skill, and I analyze about uh, 5 article. The first article is teaching reading comprehension by using directed activities related to text TRTI for student. And then for this, uh, I have 3 point important from this article. First, directed activities related to text. The DRT is a teaching method that can be applied in reading activities. Uh, in this first point, uh, text DIRT can be applied in all activities in reading. So easy to easy to easy to learn, easy to use. And the seconds in the seconds is reconstruction activities are activities that require students to reconstruct a text or diagram by filling in missing word, pairs or sentence, or by sequencing text that has been jumbled. There are some rules in implementing TRT in teaching reading. In the second in the second explanation, in the second point, uh, the explanation is many rules in this TRT reading. In in the analysis activities, the student will understand the other indicator of the reading, such in marking the information. The student will learn main idea or supporting idea of the text, and the student can summarize of the teaching reading comprehension. And the second article is the effect of using material on the 8th grade student reading comprehension. I have I found three point about this article. The first point is comparing the result of the reading test between the control class and the experimental class to know the significant main difference to find the effect of the use of authentic reading material on the 8th-year student reading comprehension achievement. According to the English teacher, the English lesson was taught twice a week with Bima as the textbook, and the student got difficult got difficult in understanding the general and specific information of the reading text. And then second is reading is viewed as a decoding process of reconstructing the printed letter and word, and building for text from the smallest textual unit at the bottom to larger and larger unit at top. Readers are expected to do more than just read the text. The student will be motivated to read when they feel that they need something from the text. And the last, the analysis of the post-test result showed that there was a significant effect of using English authentic reading material on the student reading comprehension achievement in the reading comprehension test. And the third article is P6 student teacher reading comprehension skill of science and physics text. I found 3 points about this article. The first is influenced by theoretical model of reading comprehension is it could cite that students are unable to build an adequate text-based and situational model which represents the constructive understanding of the meaning of text. The second is making inference in science text. For some cases need the readers to identify the information because mostly the information is not explicitly stated in the text that is implied in the text, so that usually student need. And the third is the strategies should be applied when student read science text and when internalize and use frequently. Students have benefit when using the strategy, and then it can lead to large positive effect on the text comprehension. And the fourth article is reading interest and reading comprehensive. comprehension, I'm sorry, a correlational study in Syarif Hidayatullah. Syarif Hidayatullah is university in Jakarta. First, based on quantitative and qualitative evidence, the study found that learners need English reading activity in order to effectively in English. Second, the highest stage of comprehension is creative comprehension, which involves involves um, cognitive dimension of reading because it is related to psychological impact and aesthetic of text toward the readers. And the third is the reader concludes implicit information by combining information in the text with background knowledge. And then fifth, fifth article is reading as one of the significant language skill. First, the purpose for reading should be built on what the reader already knows, and then the relate in it to something that the needs to find out in the text. Second is reading is one of the significant skill that plays great role in the teaching and learning EFL. Reading is an interactive process between the reader and the text and the context in which the text is present. And then the purpose for reading should be built on what the reader already knows, and then mm, relate it something that he needs to find out in the text. When I person read of text, the engage in complex array of cognitive process. And the last article in this mind map is mm, reading strategies as development model English cognition of senior high school student. The first, the reader understand the reading does not to mm, identify the word by in meaning from the text. Reading comprehension as a process that occurs between the reader to read the text in an event like this. And then second, the role of English teacher becomes very important, and then to get and familiarize the use of the English text reading strategy. And then the second is explain can be explained about strategy in English text reading. And the third is the cognitive enhancement process of reading English text by teacher through the application of a six-step reading strategy helps student in the process of thinking quickly, finding meaning from English text. Next, in the section is I want to tell you about my summarize about the five journal, and then I want to explain about the summary. Okay, first, the title for the first article is teaching reading comprehensions by using directed activities related to text GRTI for the student. And this is the link. And then the summary is directed activities related to text DIRT is a teaching method that can be applied in reading activities. And then reconstruction activities are activities that require students to reconstruct a text or diagram by filling in missing word, phrase, or sentence, or by sequencing text that has been jumbled. There are some rules and implementing TIRT in teaching reading. And then teaching model in order to show the application of TIRT in teaching reading, the writer will show teaching model of using TIRT in teaching reading. Pre-reading activity, the teacher invite the student in teaching and learning activity. Teacher say, "Hello student, how are you?" and many other like this. It is file itself with the title Gingerbread Man. I'll read for you. The teacher read the story, and then the teacher now it's your job to complement the text. You can do it in a group, and then the teacher asks the student to make a group and distribute the text. The other activity that can be used by the teacher in applying GIRT in teaching reading is analyze activities. And then pre-reading activity, the teacher invites student in teaching and learning activity. Teacher like hello student, and like example before this. And the advantage of directed activities related to text DRD in teaching reading implement DRD in some advantage can be found by the teacher and student department education and skill argues that advantage of DIRT first engaging and encourage teacher and student to tackle difficult tasks in its analysis activities. The student will understand the other indicator of the reading, such in marking in the information. The student will learn the main idea of supporting idea of the text, and then the student can summarize of the text by constructing the brains of the diagram and then description of listening media software. In listening media software there are some features that teacher need to know first in order to be able to prepare the listening material, and then using listening material using listening media in preparing listening material. The crucial part in using listening media software is preparing the listening material and many other like that. And then the second journal is reading as one of the significant language skill. The summary is reading is one of the significant skills that play great roles in the teaching and learning. If our reading is an interactive process between the reader and the text, and the context which the text is present. The, the purpose for reading should be built on what the reader already knows, and then relate it to something that he needs to find out in the text. When a person read a text engaged in a complex array of cognitive process. There are two elements that make up the process of reading comprehension. The first is vocabulary knowledge, and then the second is text comprehension. It is not good enough just hand the student a text with a set of questions and then ask them to read the text and answer the question. And the thing that we are actually teaching and then something, in other words, what do we read in real life situation, and then where do we read this text, what is the purpose of the read on the reader, how to we read the text in order to get what we need from it. So when we teach how to read the text in class, we want to try and recap as much of the real situation as possible. And then reading is an interactive process between the reader, the text, and the context which the text is present. And then the purpose for reading should be built on what the reader already knows, and then relate it's something that he needs to find out in the text. And the third journal is the effect of using English authentic reading material on the accurate student reading comprehensive achievement. And then the summary is the student will be motivated to read when they feel that they need something from the text, and then the effect of the use of authentic reading material on the accurate student reading comprehension achievement. And then based on the article, the English lesson was taught twice a week with Bima as the textbook, and the student got difficulty in understanding the general and specific information of the reading text. The analysis of the post this result saw that there was a significant effect of using English authentic reading material on the student reading comprehension achievement in the reading comprehension text like this. And the fourth journal is basic student teacher reading comprehension skill of science and basic text. And the summary is in its reading comprehensive test there are 30 reading comprehension question of science text and 20 question reading basic text that students should complete it within 45 minutes. In this reading text are intended to stimulate students curiously and inspire them to think about information beyond of the text written in the basic text. When the reader manages constructive and integrative process for making inferences from a dense information from some sentence or analyze the text into a unit idea to understand the text meaning, the readers required higher level thinking skill. And then the strategy should be applied when when the student reads science text and when internalize and use frequently, students have benefit when using strategy, and it can lead to large positive effect on the text comprehension. And then reading strategies as development model English cognition of senior high school student. In a short summary, uh, for students who like English lesson and accustomed to reading English text would be easy or quick to capture text in 94 until 96 minutes because it has a high learning motivation. And the last, the cognitive enhancement process of reading English text by teacher through the application of a six-step reading strategy helps students in the process of thinking quietly, finding meaning from English text. And the last journal is reading interest and reading comprehension, a correlational study in Syarif Hidayatullah State Islamic University Jakarta. And the short summary is in reading analyze activity, student will understand all the reading indicators such as marking information. Student will learn the main idea of supporting ideas of the text, and student can summarize the text by arranging the brains of the text diagram in other words and many other like situation. So that it implied more often makes student accustomed to applying it easier for students to find the meaning of the English text they read. The role of the English teacher is very important to guide and familiarize the use of English text, reading strategies, and the process of cognitive improvement in reading English text by the teacher through the application of a six-step reading strategy helps students and the process of thinking quickly to find the meaning of the English text. Okay, next I want to tell you about the synthesis. Reading is one of the important skills that play a big role in the teaching and learning process. Reading is an interactive process between the reader, the text, and the context in which text is present. And in reading analyze activities, a student will understand other reading indicator, such as marking information. Student will learn the main idea of or supporting idea of the text, and student can summarize the text by arranging by brains of the text diagram and other words which we read in real life situation. And then we are we reading this text, what are the writers and readers goals, and then how do we read the text to get what and we need from it. So when we teach how to read a text in class, we want to try replicate as many actual situation as possible. Then the conclusion in the sentence text in some case with the readers to identify the information because most of the information is not explicit is that in the text implicit in the text, so that student usually need to prepare and then the reader is required to read carefully, and then strategies should be applied when student read science text and when they are internalized and used frequently. Students have an advantage when using the strategies. It can lead to large positive effect and then on text comprehension. If not, students who are not used to reading will repeat reading the text to get the essence of the text. Do not forget to also identify as a statement about the text that is clearly expressed in the basic text reaching 55%, and then it can be said that students uh, so have difficulty in driving conclusion and then do not read the basic text in entirety. So that it is applied more often, make student accustomed to applying it, make it easier for student to find the meaning of the English text they read. And then the role of the English teacher is very important to get familiar with the use of English text reading strategies. And the last, the process of cognitive improvement in reading English text by teacher through the application of a six-step the reading strategies help students in the process of thinking quickly to find the meaning of the English text. Thank you, just all from me. If I have mistaken, I'm so sorry. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.